Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Well, today I want to kind of bring to light a tape emulation that you might already have, but you might not have thought to use it. I've been checking out the EchoBoy for my Sonic Scoop video, and I read about this tape delay that it had. And it made me wonder, is there a setting that I can use so that I can actually use it just as a tape emulation? No delay, no feedback, nothing, just a clean pass-through with the color of the tape. So this is what this episode is all about today. I'm going to show you how to set up the EchoBoy, and if it's a plugin that you already have, it's actually a tape emulation that you can start using right away. And it actually sounds quite good. Okay, so, I've been, again, checking out the EchoBoy as well as other Sound Toys plugins, and, this is a lot to learn here, I haven't even scratched the surface of this, but in short, what you want is to have your mix all the way wet, your echo time 0 milliseconds, feedback all the way down. And then what I do is groove all the way left, feel all the way left. Single echo is on right here. And then over here is your flavor. So you have basically an emulation of the ATR 102 tape machine at 15 inches per second, or the master tape is at 30 inches per second. So that's pretty cool. Within just these two, we have two different tape emulations. We have saturation, we have input to drive it hard, and then output to compensate. So this is actually kind of a hidden tool that you wouldn't think is necessarily there, and it doesn't really work unless you have these settings actually set up correctly. So I also should mention that I still have available my free PDF download, the free plugin Toolbox. This is a guide for free plugins. It's some of them are actually like crowdfunded, like Patreon, but you can download them and start using them at no cost. These are not promotional free plugins, but these are like ongoing free plugins that aren't just a demo or something, but these are basically zero cost plugins. So I have this guide and it walks you through all my favorites of these free plugins, basically how to use them, how to kind of interpret, okay, this is a good, 1073, this is a good kind of Neve, this is over here, kind of my favorite for drum bus. So that guide is available now. Go to the upper right or the link in the description below. Okay, so this right here is, it's very subtle, okay? And I'm going to really crank it up on the master bus so you can hear what it sounds like. And then once you hear it, you're like, wow, that's actually, it's doing a lot, okay? So check this out.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door, all the limits I face. 'Cause in every moment you got a decision to stay deaf.
So this button here is the bypass button for this plugin. This is a Studio One little icon here. But for those of you that don't know, that's just a bypass. So there was a portion there that I had bypassed this plugin, and if I really drive this pretty good, you can hear that it's really doing a lot. You start to, sound like a little boombox that's turned up too loud. And that's really a sign that there's a lot of saturation happening. So I think the sweet spot for this, specifically on my levels of my mix, is kind of somewhere right in here, plus 8 to 10, saturation about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Cut it back appropriately, whatever you really need for your levels out. Then after this, I have an EQ. I'm taking a little of the little lows out, little of the low mids. Then I have my bus comp, the successor. That's actually right over, kind of to the right of my screen here. That's hitting at 3-to-1. I have the Golfos, and that just kind of even things out just a little bit. Then I have a limiter, just more kind of just for the video, just to make sure that nothing kind of clips going into the recorder. So back to the EchoBoy. Let's hear it again. I'll push it, pull it back. Here we go.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door on the limits I face, 'cause in every moment you got a decision to stay deaf or to listen.
So that's 30 inches per second. Let's do the studio tape, which the manual says is 15 IPS. It'll be a little bit slower speed, which will be a little bit less high end, I guess. Never actually operated a tape machine, but let's see how this sounds.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door on the limits I face, 'cause in every
Yeah, it's definitely different. The gain staging is just a little bit different. So that's only that's on the main stereo bus here. I want to make sure to put it back to master.
each reaction's a hallway.
Okay, got my levels. That should be good to go. Now what I'm going to do is just going to show you a little bit upstream. So let's go to the drum bus here. Check that out.
So many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do.
Yeah, it was weird. I'm not sure why it opened up with the output totally down like that, but I think we're back. Yeah, you can hear it kind of breaking up there. Yeah, so studio tape. Now what's really interesting is to go to these others, okay? Yeah, some of them just, they're just not really designed to do kind of like an audio pass through, right? Like that. I mean, that makes no sense just to pass audio through necessarily. So, the Space Echo is a really cool option if you want some sort of lo-fi effect using these same settings here. Again, I'm not exactly sure the ins and outs of all of these. Um, I don't know that that's really covered in the manual, but they do specifically say that these two are at ATR 102. I found that these settings here make it work. So it's just passing audio, no delay. We're just getting the flavor of the style, which is our tape emulation. So I went a little further. I went to the kick and the snare. Check that out. So this kick is only part of the story because I have kind of some parallel processing where I go over to split off the kick and snare. I run it through some saturation and some EQ with a low end boost, and that gets me my full kick sound. So here it is kind of all together. And here it is just with the kick. So it makes a lot more sense now why it's so different.
Each reaction's a hallway. So I'll close the door, all the limits I face.
We could actually opt, instead of the decapitator, we could go with what we're working with here. Let's do yeah, you gotta make sure. Sometimes when I switch from the note to the time, and I'm not sure if this actually would matter, but I just kind of do it just to make sure. And then yeah, studio. Okay, so let's check this out.
When I see it's a fake, I'll close the door, all the limits I face. 'Cause in every moment, you got a decision.
So I realized that we're actually using this as almost an EQ. It's not really a distortion, but it is more of an EQ. So let me kind of zero this out. Let me see what this is doing. Yeah, there we go. So just a little bit of flavor.
Each reaction's a hallway. So many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me.
So yeah, I mean that's a little much, but that's kind of the idea, is we're able to increase or lower just kind of sneak it in. These are kind of extreme settings because I want you to hear what it's doing. So in, reality, we could, go back in and kind of reduce this quite a bit. Instead of way up here, we could maybe cut it back by 20%, Find the setting that you like, dial it back about 20%, and that's, probably the better bet, safer bet for a setting. I made a video recently for Arturia over on Sonic Scoop, and somebody commented, "Hey, easy does it on the saturation." And at the same time, though, you have to kind of exaggerate what you're doing because it'll be very frustrating if you're not even sure what you're hearing and what you're supposed to be hearing. So I try to kind of make sure it's obvious. And then, of course, during the actual mix, it's a very subtle game. You find the setting, then you kind of dial back, right? So this is, let's see, a little bit more of a distorted approach on that, what I call the crush bus here. I did it on snare. It has a slight effect of just kind of, rounding off the top end a little bit. I did it on the vocal.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step back once, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's so fake. I'll close the door, all the limits I face. 'Cause in every moment you got a decision to stay deaf or to listen to a higher mind, a higher mind, a higher mind, a higher mind.
Yeah, so I can kind of feather the fader here to control the output. Although I was almost running out of room here, but yeah, so you could drive it. I kind of set this, it actually kind of works just to kind of leave it there. And then that way you're only kind of dealing with, kind of two things. So it doesn't sound bad, I don't know that it's for this song. It's really not. I kind of like it without or just kind of clean. So I think I'll just kind of clean it up.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step back once, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's no fake. I'll close the door, all the limits I face. 'Cause in every moment
Wow, that's actually really cool. Okay, check this out. So let's say we do a effects bus. Let's call this space. We'll copy that effect over because that actually has a stereoizing element. Wow, what is this style? Nothing? Wonder what that does. So let's just take it back to like a clean vocal sound here.
each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step back once, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fate.
Yeah, you gotta love when you can't find something here. Let's see. I'm trying to man all the cameras, the audio levels, and actually do mixing and explain it as I'm going. So, this is on top of, you know, switching the cameras and making sure this is in focus over here, and then making this focus, and then making sure this is squared off. So it's a lot to get used to doing. But okay, so we have this. This is lined up.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do.
Okay, hold up a second.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No walking by me when I see it's a fake.
You know, it seems to be like this is actually not exactly perfect mono. It's actually slight stereo, which is interesting. If you look at the meters here.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose.
You know, it's not perfect mono here, so it's doing something, which is kind of cool. I think it's not distracting. You know, it's almost like the like Plugin Alliance has like the tolerance modeling technology, where, you know, left and right are slightly different, and it makes a difference. You know, I think this is kind of that same thing where it's a mono vocal, but it's coming out just slightly different. So anyways, that's the clean. Let's mix in some of this. And I was kind of thinking this as almost like a modulation effect, where you can make it sound almost like a vocal double or something like that. Maybe for background vocals might be kind of cool. Let's see.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No walking by me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door, all the limits I face.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Let's mix it in.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No walking by me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door, all the limits I face. Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No walking by me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door, all the limits I face. Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's completely useful. I mean, I think maybe for background vocal, that could be really cool. You know, if it's like a vocal harmony, maybe you only have one. You could put this on, use this trick, use these settings where we have full mix all the way wet, echo time 0.0, feedback minimum, left, all the way left, all the way left, all the way left, single echo, and then you have your flavors, you know, whatever you want to pick. So space echo could be cool in that case for background vocals, I think. But I want to kind of keep this more about the tape emulation. than going into the weeds with some of these things. Although I think these could be really cool. I mean, AM radio, shortwave. I mean, there's some things that really could. It could be really cool to play around with, depending on what you need. So I'm gonna go back to. You know what? I want to actually hear this thing.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door on the limits I face. 'Cause in every moment you got a decision.
Yeah, that's not bad. You don't know that it's right for the song, but it's really nice because it's dark. It's not obtrusive. It just kind of blends in, right? And then that's the secret, and that's why I think that's why Sound Toys actually sounds good, is because the kind of the trail is dark. It's slightly modulated. And of course, they have their roots in the Eventide H3000 and other coding things, TC Electronics. They're good at modulation of sounds, delays, things like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of good code, a lot of experience, and it shows. It sounds good. But if I didn't have this, to get the similar sound, it would be, add some darkening qualities, low passing my effects, maybe a slight high pass as well, just to make sure that my reverb, my delay tails don't kind of eat up more space. Maybe even add some modulation. We can actually hear that on this space echo here. It actually had a little bit of modulation kind of sound to it. So, yeah, I think that there's reasons why these effects can work so well and why we see so much of the EchoBoy here. So going back to kind of our topic at hand, we have two different tape emulations. Let's check out guitar. Okay, so a slight difference there, but let's try out cheap tape.
So many rooms to choose.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nice.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll.
It's like an instant vibe, It sounds like it's being compressed. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it definitely sounds compressed.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door on the limits I face. 'Cause in every moment you got a decision to stay deaf or to listen to a higher mind. A higher mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can play around with here. That definitely sounds compressed to me, almost like the saturation really should be relabeled as compression there. and it has a kind of a cool flavor for something like guitar that you don't need a lot of low end necessarily in. But I'll just leave it at master tape for now. Again, I think my kind of favorite settings for this is saturation about 1 or 2 o'clock, input, drive a little bit, output, take it down a little bit, so 2 and 10 o'clock, something like that. I think that overall, this type of effect could be, it could be very aggressive or it could be very subtle, depending on what you are doing, and depending on how many instances you use it. I would start out subtle, and I would probably place it very first thing in your chain, and then that way your compression plugin doesn't have to work as hard because there's a little bit of saturation controlling those dynamics, and you're adding a little bit of flavor. Then you understand, okay, I need a little bit more top end or a little less low end. So this kind of gets you a quick starting point, but then you can kind of stack on top of it. And of course, I would, definitely have this in the master bus if you're going to use it, right? I mean, I'll still have to test this out. Haven't done much mixing with this so far, except for this initial test. But if you're going to use it, see this as a part of that lens that you're making decisions from. It's going to affect the levels of things, kick, levels of vocal, bass guitar. So it's very difficult to just throw this on at the very end and then make adjustments. It's kind of something you need to do a little bit earlier on, because even more than a bus compressor, this really can change a lot of the tone and the dynamics. So let me know what you think of this episode. Let me know if you have any questions or any ideas for future episodes. Talk to you soon.